Welcome to Salento with Love. I'm Davide Mengoli, episode 7 of Palazzo Correias. Well, every time I come here, I just can't resist. I need to stand here in front of this incredible church and really absorb the energy of this building, but also think about the transformation and all the things that are happening on a regular basis. So I think it's time to go in, and I've chosen today a day that no one is on site, because as you will see through the course of this video, there are so many activities, so it's nice to come in and film when perhaps you're not on anyone's way. So let's go in. Well, so much is happening. When you were here last time, we were just doing the self-leveling, ready for the tiling to happen. And then since then, a lot of plastering, a lot of joints. And as you can see, the arches are beautifully coming together. These open spaces are now smooth. Can you imagine when the paint gets applied and the light that comes through? But tiles have been delivered, and in fact, as we go upstairs, you will see some of the tiling, but look at this. Wow. This is the amazing tiles that are getting applied at the moment, but look at the size of them, 1.2 meters square. And also the weight. How did they get delivered here? We're going to go upstairs, but even the railing, it's been an incredible mission because there are so many flights of stairs, and getting the railing right, it's a very important thing. The way it gets done, they measure it up, then they fabricate it, then they need to bring it over, they need to test it, they need to physically mount it on the stairs before it gets adjusted, taken away to get galvanized and then powder coated. So the entire process of creating railing for stairs is a pretty complex one, especially when you have so many flights of stairs. And the connection between the flights are also very, very important. Also, in taking measurements for these windows, we realized that that's so uncomfortable to reach out there. So when the new window is going to go in, it will be fully motorized. It means that you'll have a switch and you can function the 4 windows that are here. So when you're doing a remodeling as well, think about those elements, because sometimes the difference between not doing them and doing them is very tiny. The cost could probably be 100 euros for the motor, but not having it, it means that you may have to have a stick, it means that you may have to put a little stool to get up there. It's so uncomfortable. So it's good to think about those things while you are actually doing the remodeling. Well, you are looking at almost the finished floor. Obviously it does need grouting and it's very dusty, but when you are tiling a floor or even walls, very important to spend your time creating the grid. It's so important to create the floor plan or the wall plan, because once you start setting your tiles down, there is no going back. And here, I must say, it took a little bit of thinking, and we actually had to readjust our course, because if you see this, it's so incredibly special. The size of the tile will allow us to have one whole piece on the steps. So when you see the steps tiles in episode maybe 8 or 9, I'm not sure, then remember this detail. It's so important. So you can imagine the stairs coming, flowing in, straight from there, and then this is actually created and set the mood for the entire floor space. So you got to choose. Are you going to choose the balcony? Are you going to choose something else, the entrance to another room? You really need to sit down and think what you would like to do before you start setting your tiles down, so then you can have a flowing process and you would just have to stick with that. So this is just absolutely incredible. And the substrate underneath is so important. Also, important details if you have an underfloor heating system. Well, we have a balcony here, and you saw in episode 6, Carlo manufacturing those beautiful windows which they're going to be mounted here. But the window will go directly against this stone and it will go down there. Now, why has the tile stopped there and not all the way out? Interesting question. But the reason is because of the different temperature that the outside space will have with the inside space. So in this particular case, the tile has actually been stopped here and the joint will end up exactly underneath the door. More planning. Very important for whoever is making your doors and windows to communicate with whoever is doing your floor tiling or your wall tiling, just to make sure that you get these elements right. And then the next part there will be filled and it will have the tile and it will be finished on the front. So it will be really tight, really nice, really clean, but the different temperature from the outside is not going to affect the underfloor heating, and it's not going to transmit anything, and it's not going to crack the tile. So a very important element to remember, a little bit of a technical thing there. Not always possible, but when it is, because the walls are straight, and sometimes in old and ancient buildings the walls are not straight and it's impossible really. Well, it is possible, but it doesn't really happen to make them straight. But when they are, I've gone round and round with my words, doing the floor without a skirting is also a possibility if you have a very good tiler. And if you have an underfloor heating, it means that they're going to cut the wall a little bit for the tile to go under there and have a little bit of an expansion gap that allows for the floor to actually move because of the heating that gets generated. So in this particular case, when everything is finished and plastered and painted white, you're not going to have any skirting on the walls, and the door frame will go straight onto the wall and everything will be super sleek. How amazing is that? These are probably the most complex part of doing a floor, and especially when you have underfloor heating. This is a shower right in the middle of the room, but it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the room. In this case, it's a very special shower, as you will see in the following episodes 8, 9, but also having a shower that doesn't have a shower tray and the flooring itself becomes the draining tray. It's a very complex process, given the right inclination, which you can be 3–4%. It's a very complex, because you don't want to create a step, you don't want to create a ledge. And how do you do it? Well, a lot of planning. Again, the tiles coming through there will require some planning in order to then get to the middle where the drainage bar is going to be, to make sure that everything flows in there. And in this particular case, you can imagine you are actually walking through this beautiful room to step into the center of the room where the shower is, but at the same time you are continuing your journey, stepping into what is going to be the toilet and the bathroom, or the toilet and the bidet. So you really want that transition process, even if you're walking through a place where the shower is in the middle of the room, to be a transition space without having a gap or a lip or anything that, first of all, is not aesthetically pleasing, but also become an hazard if you're just walking through there. So it's very special. Oh, and you've noticed the color of the bathroom tiles are different. There is just beautiful charcoal black color. So the entire bathroom will have this incredible effect of stepping into an environment that is almost embracing you, with lights coming through the sides. But anyway, I'm giving you too much information. This is probably on episode 8, when you will get to see this space totally tiled. It definitely has been an exciting episode 7. So much action, so many things happening. Seeing these guys cutting tiles, these huge tiles, and putting them together and bringing them together. The guys working on the railing and really figuring out the best way to hook them on the best way to make them smooth, and the transitions between the different flight of stairs. There's so much happening. The guys plastering and putting those beautiful star-shaped ceiling joining together smoothly, and those amazing arches. So much happening. It's incredible. It's almost like with a magic wand you go around and you just turn this beautiful building into something spectacular again. For me, I like to think of them as forgotten beauty. They were sitting here silently waiting for you. And thank you very much for taking the challenge on in turning what was an awesome palazzo into an even more better and spectacular building, offering incredible amount of comfort. So, episode 7 comes to an end. What's there in episode 8? I don't know, I don't have a clue. You just make sure you're going to be there. And in the meantime, press the little bell, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and autostrada. Subscribe to the channel and stay safe wherever you are.
Hi!
We had a heart attack. We decided to give the heart attack.
Buongiorno. Every time I come here, look at you. To wake up with this, huh?
So special.
It's very, oh my gosh, arches are plastered. I mean, look at that now. Oh my gosh. Now you really see. It's just out of this world, isn't it?
And you see what I meant about the arch not being really...
Yes, it's not straight.
Well, no, because the frame is going to mount from the outside, so you're never going to see, and it's impossible for the plasterer to get
Yes,
absolutely
yes,
straight.
I understand. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my God, look how small this is. It's like baby's bum.
Once it gets sanded down.
I don't touch it. It's like baby's bum.